How's it going there, everybody? Well, this is Carpo, me, going to go ahead and lay out exactly where I'm coming from and then my latest videos lately. You know, I've been very political and I've been talking about a lot of things that ordinarily I tend to ignore. I want people to know that I've never been ignorant of the corruption that's going on in this world. This is something that I'm constantly exposed every day to. You might go online and you read a report about something horrible that happened, and the last thing you want to do is ignore it. But you also don't want to spend your whole day dedicated to wasting your energy worrying about something that can't be that big of a deal, or something that can't be proven, or something you can't do anything about. So I'd like to take a minute to kind of explain the transition of my channel here, and I'm becoming a little more politically oriented. And it's not for lack of, it's not because anything came as a surprise to me, or I learned something amazing that I didn't know before. It's that I have chosen to keep my feet out of the waters, because what I'm going to call the truther community has become one of the most useless fixtures on the internet. And I mean that with all respect, but only respect to those who are actually putting in the effort. If you go forward and you're presenting truths that can help people, things that people need to know, then this can be very useful. If you're going around saying that the Queen of England is a reptilian and she drinks baby blood, that's not truthing. If you're talking about how the US government is going to create a false alien invasion in order to, create a slave race, or that aliens created human hybrids, or that there's Agenda 21 to wipe out the population of the Earth, those are kind of useless things, in my opinion. If there is an agenda to depopulate the world, let's get into that at a different time, but let's work on the things that we can actually deal with, which is how do we stop the local groups from causing the corruption and the greed, the things that we can physically see and touch and taste, such as these prison riots that are going on. I should say they're not riots yet, they're protests now, and they may very well turn into riots. But one of the spokespeople for the prisoners around the country said they don't want it to become a violent thing. But the media cannot get into the jails, prisons, to interview these people. Obviously, they go unheard, and only a few people are sharing it on social media, because the only people who are affected by this are the people who are either prisoners themselves, who can't get a voice outside the prison, or people who have families that are in prison, or people who have been to prison or jail and know how bad the conditions really are. For a nation like ours, with 5% of the world's population and 25% of the prisoners in the world, that can say it all right there, and people can take it for what it is. I could say, well, then how is this issue important? It's important because if people make demands, and people realize what's going on, and they see the corruption, then they can actually write to Congress, they can write to their people, or they can take physical action or protest. If we're not aware of what's really going on, it's difficult. You get what the term of the day yesterday was outrage fatigue, having to do with just too many things, too overwhelming. So you stick to something. For me, I just don't want that trigger to trigger me into that whole, crazy realm of becoming, a spokesman or a reporting news or ideas, because it wasn't in my heart before. But this Kratom thing has triggered something in me. It snapped. Something that was just waiting. It was a very delicate thread there. It was like the last straw, so to speak. And I really did some deep thinking over the last couple weeks. And I've decided that while I love to discuss all of these life issues, things about personal empowerment, seeing things positively, being able to enjoy where you're at and who you are, and those are the things that have been important to me over the last few years, and that resonates in the video subjects. And I'm glad that I've spent the time to do that, because it allows me to know myself, it allows me to understand where I'm coming from, how to hold back and refrain from being overly emotional about things, yet how to not back down from things and not be emotional at all. So I think I have a pretty well-rounded emotional state when it comes to dealing with these things, and I've met so many people who feel like they're not represented. People who say, I wish that I could get my point across, but I can't write, or I can't type, or I can't spell very well, or I'm not good at talking. And I started really thinking about people like us, the people who are making videos, or the ones who are writing books, or the ones who are doing the studies, the people who could get together and say, we will represent you as people. I want to represent my people. I want to represent those around me who care about one another and want to make a difference. Now, a lot of folks want to orchestrate and organize groups and get tightly woven, and what happens with that is infiltration. Just like I mentioned in a video before that, you know, during the Bush era, after 9/11, when they started putting people, agents, they actually had agents that would go out in plain clothes and join these groups to see what people were talking about, to make sure that nobody was, you know, non-American. And there was once, you know, one story I read about a guy or a lady or a man who had infiltrated a sewing circle, and their job was to go to work each day and listen to see what these old ladies are talking about in the sewing circle, to see if they're non-political, political, and what they're saying. Welcome to your tax dollars at work. We are paying people to watch us. We know this is going on. It's become ludicrous. And I would love to just live my life, ignore what's going on, and not expose myself and put myself on the forefront of these things. But I feel an obligation and a pull to speak out when I see these things. And after talking with a lot of different people, subscribers, customers, friends, family, I've discovered that a lot of people want that representation. They want people who will speak for them. And the truther community has become so disturbing to me that there's so much nonsense that it's become, here's the problem, it's become about views for a lot of people. I would like to talk about the truth, talk about the current issues and cases and situations like Standing Rock and like the prison issue, without doing it for the sake of, hey, come look at this, come look at this, look at my ads, I'm going to make money. I will not put advertisements on my channel, ever. And it's my, like, pious little attitude maybe about it. But hey, I'm not going to allow the companies that I'm sitting here bitching about to make money off of advertising on these very videos. If I were to make a video talking shit about Walmart and how they use prison labor, and then you end up with a Walmart commercial on your channel. I understand people want to profit, and they want to make money off of what they do. But the problem is that compromises the integrity of the news. It's just like any other news station. If there's no news that day, then what do? They make something up. And this is what's happened. Let me give you an example of the UFO community, okay? When the internet became, you know, when it was running rampant in its younger years, all of the UFO information that was supposedly put out there was just overwhelming, and we figured it would keep coming in. But as more people have cameras, more people have cell phones, more people are able to capture photos, the actual evidence for things like Sasquatch, aliens, you know, interdimensional things has become less and less, and it's become less and less useful. And there are channels that deal with just UFO content, so every day they have to post a new video about a new sighting. And even when you know that the video is obviously a hoax, it's obviously faked, people aren't even checking their own facts or their information. So, I'm not trying to tear into anybody. People are welcome to watch what they want, do what they want. If people want to make videos trying to expose the truth, all I can say is if you're going to spend time doing it, make sure there's things that people can do. We don't sit and talk about whether an alien invasion is coming. We sit here and talk about the alien invasion within our own country that is happening with foreign companies buying out American companies. And it's so far beyond that. It's not even about our nation and their nation. Just like it's not us and them, it's not us as neighbors and them as neighbors. We are all neighbors. And we have to remember it's the same way with our officials. With our representatives that we currently have in office, many of them don't seem to give a shit about what you think. But many of them do. So I just wanted to extend that little angle to it, to say, hey, remember, don't just be scathing and harsh to every single person who's trying to represent you. Some people do care. You know, I firmly believe in my heart that Bernie Sanders cares about the people in this country. A lot of people tear into him by saying, oh, he's just, or the description they used was pie in the sky, I think Hillary used, as if basically saying, well, this person wants a happy world and a happy nation, that's unattainable and ridiculous. And everybody laughs at them. So the nice guys are laughed off as saying, no, we've got to get tough, we've got to get tougher. But all of this toughness is just separating us more. The prison industrial complex has been using slave labor for companies like Verizon. Did you know when you call into a call center for Verizon and McDonald's, Wendy's, that they're using prisons as call centers now? The guy you're giving your information to may very well be in a prison. How do I feel about that? Well, if they were getting paid fair wages, that might be one thing, but they're not. It's basically slave labor, and I found out that they're actually using them for farm workers now. Private farms are able to use prison labor on their farms now in California, or was it Arizona, I believe. So, why I'm moving into the realm of information like this is because I want to point out things that are happening right now before they just get knocked down. Things like Standing Rock. There's a complete media blackout on what's going on over there with the pipeline. But people need to know about it. And for those who aren't aware, the tribes over there, they need lots of donations. There's a page you can go to. Simple things. You know, my wife mentioned it to me. She's like, we should send them cinnamon since we've got various herbs, and they wanted some cinnamon and some other things. Small differences, little things we do make a large impact in the bigger picture. And when we see others doing things for the sake of just helping others, not for the sake of look at me, not for the sake of, hey, can I get as many views, or how many advertisements can I get? It's not about the money. If everyone wants to be better off, we have to forget about the money aspect and really go from the heart and try to make as much of an impact as we can on our local community without backing down. Perhaps I'm ashamed of myself a little bit for ignoring it for too long. It's not that I wasn't paying attention. It's just that I figured my outrage would just add to the current state of outrage, which is already outrageously outrageous. It's an overwhelming amount of stuff out there. So I will be a representative as much as I can for my people, and I hope that you will too. And maybe we can make a difference in this world. So stick together. We are not the enemy of each other. The comments section in YouTube videos becomes a belligerent battle on a lot of these videos, that the more views they get, the more people are tending to argue. You notice that the less that people know each other, the worse and the dumber the comments get, especially when there's like a live show and it's just a thread of, you know, racist slurs to try to get somebody to say something back, or something sexist, totally irrelevant to the video, and it just becomes garbage, fodder, nonsense. So it is important that we forget about the mainstream media, even the mainstream alternative media, you know, like the Young Turks, groups like that, you know. Yeah, they have potential to actually make an impact, but they're too tied into being financed, and some of the stories they have are just ludicrous, and some of their attitudes towards it are ludicrous. I just wish we had more representatives that weren't considering themselves alternative or mainstream or not mainstream. It's just people sharing information. So I've gone on too long already here. I wish you all the best, and talk to you soon. Stay safe and